I seem to recall mentioning something about being on time as a habit. So, can this become a trend? We shall see. Well, I apologize because I am yet again at least a week late if I can get this video out tomorrow. But this is my wrap up for May and my TBR for June. Let's talk about some books, shall we? The first book I read in May was The Collector by John Fowles. I learned about this book through Carol Wainwright. He has a great review that I'll link down below. And it really piqued my interest. And so I read it and I was so hooked right out the gate. Probably the first half of the novel, 9 out of 10. And then it kind of slowed down a little bit. I still enjoyed the novel overall, but I don't think it's going to be a 9 out of 10. I think I need to do a review on this because I think it's a book more people should be reading. But anyway, what the hell is this thing about? I haven't even mentioned that yet. So it's about a man. It's about a man who sees a woman. He becomes infatuated with this woman and he kidnaps her, throws her in the back of a van with chloroform over the mouth, old school style, takes her to this house that he purchased where he's also built a cellar dungeon. Well, that's not being fair. It's a very nice room that he's assembled for this young lady. And she, of course, is his captive. And the first half of the novel is told in his perspective in first person. And the second half of the novel is told in her perspective. And that's where things began to lose me. I'll probably save it for the review, but it's a great exploration of these two opposing forces, prey and predator. And of course, it gets a very deep psychological look at these two individuals. So I highly recommend it. I'll probably do a review sometime. I'm not sure when it's going to be, but if that sounds intriguing to you, pick up The Collector by John Fowles. All right, so the second book I read, and I didn't like this one that much, that is The Moon is a Harsh Mistress by Robert Heinlein. So this was another buddy read on the channel, just like The Collector. I think I forgot to mention that. I think it was just me and Lee, that was it, who read this book. He didn't like it. I didn't really care for it. It's about a moon colony. It's about a power struggle. It's about politics. It's about philosophy. It's about a man joining forces with an intelligent computer. And let's just say, like much old sci-fi, it's about ideas and not much about character. However, I will say that Manny, I really enjoyed his character in this book. He is the narrator of the entire thing. And then, of course, Mycroft, or as he's known as Mike in the book, the computer. The HAL 9000 of the story was pretty entertaining. But overall, it felt like too much content with too few pages. This book is cleanly divided into 3 parts. The first part being a rebellion, the second part being confrontation or negotiation, and the third part also being confrontation and resolution. And Heinlein really packed too much, like I said, too much in these pages. I feel like it should have been a trilogy. And this is coming from a guy who loves short books, but I feel like he was trying to cover too much ground in this novel. Didn't really care for it. Let's talk about the next book I read, almost completed. That is Lord of Light by Roger Zelazny. So this is another old sci-fi book from the 60s, all about ideas, no characterization. And you guys know I thrive on characterization. If it is absent from the book or very minimal, I just check out. I just can't do it because ideas for me must be rooted in character, as you know. I don't care about the ideas unless I care about the person they're happening to or that person who is exploring them. But anyway, you know how it is. Cool ideas in this book, though. It's about the far future on a different planet where humanity has migrated. A group of individuals have more or less become gods. And so you can see it's about the juxtaposition of science and religion or spirituality. But yeah, pretty damn boring. Couldn't finish it. I got pretty far into it, but I could take it no more. Do not recommend that. And speaking of another book I don't recommend that was recommended to me is Pen Pal. It is I was excited for this one. It's horror. It's creepypasta. Its origins are in the creepypasta space on the web. And from what I gather, the author took these stories and improved upon them and then finally released them into a novel. It's about a guy looking back on his life, his childhood, and all the strange things that happened therein. And unfortunately, I will never know how it ends unless you guys out there who have read it will tell me, because I couldn't do it. I quit probably 30% into the novel because it was very unpolished. It was very unfinished. It's written in first-person perspective. However, it read like a child wrote it. And what I mean by that is that there was so much formal language in it that it took me out of the experience. So for instance, and I'm paraphrasing, there's a part in I think the second story where he says, there was an abundance of trees in my neighborhood. No one talks like that. In conversation, documenting their experiences is going to say, there was an abundance of trees in my neighborhood. And I know you may be saying, holy crap, that bothers you. Yes, it does. Because I look for authenticity in writing, especially first person, because it's somebody writing about their experiences. There's countless other examples that were just speed bump after speed bump for me in this book, but I'm not going to bore you with the details. Just know I can't recommend it, and I was really disappointed because that is the kind of horror I enjoy most, the atmospheric, the creepy, the ambiguous. And I saw a lot of fantastic reviews on YouTube, but I couldn't get through it. The writing itself it didn't do it for me. The last book I read, and this one I actually finished in May, is, well, you guys know, it's Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman. This book, I talked about it a little bit in my reader profile tag video, and if you haven't seen that, go check it out. But it's a lit RPG book. It's about a guy who gets trapped in kind of a video game-esque alien invasion. It's like a reality TV show, and it's heavily inspired by properties I absolutely love. Smash TV, the video game in the arcade, The Running Man starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, video games like Duke Nukem and Serious Sam, all of which I've played and watched, all of which I loved. But there's just something about the written word, the non-interactive aspect of it, and I really think that's what didn't work for me. This kind of thing in a book medium. But I owe you guys a review. I will do a review, and I will try to articulate that in a much more detailed fashion. But I think that's what really bothered me about this one. Well, that and the absolutely abysmal humor in this book. I know this is a fan favorite, especially here on booktube, but I don't get it. I don't get it one bit, and I'll talk about it in my review. Okay, kind of a crappy May for me reading-wise. There was at least one glorious book that I read. The other ones, not so good, unfortunately. Let's hope June is going to be better. So what am I going to read in June? Well, I'm going back to, because you guys requested, this almost beat out Dungeon Crawler Carl, and that is The Warrior Prophet by R. Scott Baker. It is the second book in the Prince of Nothing trilogy. I enjoyed the first one, The Darkness That Comes Before. Man, I think I read it almost a year ago, but now it's time. Now it's time. I'm actually pretty far into it. And it's a mixed bag. At the time of this recording, I'm going to say it's slightly worse than the first novel. I had problems with the first novel, but Baker was doing a lot of great things I do not see often in fantasy, at least the books I've read recently. And so it felt like a breath of fresh air, you might say. However, he's getting a little too far in the weeds. He's doing a lot of things that I didn't like about the first novel, but expanding upon them here. And Kellis continues to be the most boring character I've ever read in a novel, I believe. Well, that's probably an exaggeration, but I'm very disappointed in what this character is doing. It suffers from the same problem of ideas over character, and I know Baker is all about philosophy. He had the Bible allegedly by his side while he was writing this, and it shows too damn much. But I'm not going to get into it. Overall, I'm enjoying it, but whereas I was hoping it would get better than the first one, it's getting a little bit worse, at least at the time of this recording and where I am in the novel. The second book I'm going to read in June is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. This was another one that was requested, and this one really piqued my interest, especially because the person who requested it mentioned the relationship of the biologist and her husband in Annihilation was very similar to this book. And you guys know that book in my mind is a perfect 10, and I know that's a hot take, but that is why I'm going to read this book this month. I don't know what it's about. I'm going in blind. Let me know if you've read it. Let me know if you think I'm going to like it. All right, book number 3 is The Lamb by Lucy Rose. This was another book that was on my Discord server as a buddy read pick. It didn't get voted on. However, there are 2 individuals on the server who are going to read it this month. I'm going to read along with them. If you want to read along with us, join the Discord. The link is down in the description. It's completely free. I don't know when we're going to start it yet. I think they're waiting on their books to be shipped, but I should be starting it very soon. I hear it's kind of like a folk tale. There's cannibalism in it, and you guys know how much I love cannibalism with Tender is the Flesh. Oh, and one other thing, it has very short chapters. I think there's something like 88 chapters in this book, and it's maybe 300 pages long. And I was flipping through the sample on Amazon, and some of these chapters are only 1 or 2 pages. Perfect. I'm curious to see how that feels as a reading experience, because you guys know how I love to have a single scene per chapter. This almost seems like too few pages to contain a single scene. We shall see. Let me know down in the comments if you've read it. Did you like it? I hear it's kind of a mixed bag, but I'm curious to at least give it a shot. All right, the next book, I know, 4. This is getting crazy here. Well, this book was thrown on my Discord server, and I love the cover. I love Icelandic stuff, and it's right here. I bought it in print because the Kindle version was stupid expensive. It's called The Blue Fox. It's by an individual named Shion. Yon. I'm not sure how to say that, but it takes place in the late 1800s. It's a very thin book. That's why I'm adding it to my list in June. It's set against the backdrop of the Icelandic winter. An elusive, enigmatic fox leads the hunter on a transformative quest, etc., etc., etc. I'm almost done with it, as you can see. I'm enjoying it so far. It's kind of cozy, kind of weird. There's not much of a plot, but that's okay because it's short and atmospheric. I'll let you guys know what I think when I get to the end. So what is the final book I'm going to read in June? Well, that is up to you out there. I would love you to drop your suggestion of what I should read down in the comments below. Upvote the ones you like, including your own, and I will pick the top 4, throw them in a poll, and whichever one wins will be the final book I will read that will guarantee a review. So let me know how your reading May was. Was it better than mine? Let me know what you're planning on reading in June. And thanks for watching.